Hey guys, before this video starts, I thought since there's a lot more of you now, like, wow, that I would take a minute to talk about my Discord server and why you should join it. Now, I think my Discord server is really cool and we're doing a lot of good things in it that you would find interesting, but if you really don't care and you just want to get to the video, I get it, don't worry. Just skip to this time on the screen right now. For the rest of you, let me just take a minute of your time to tell you why my Discord is the best and reigns supreme over every other Discord server ever. First of all, I make a conscious effort to be active in it myself and interact with my audience. Secondly, we have roles for all 20 Overwatch League teams and the top 8 Overwatch World Cup teams for you to show your team pride. And third, and most exciting, is the events that we have with the Discord. We host viewing parties, and we'll probably have a couple more when BlizzCon rolls around. We have an Overwatch World Cup bracket prediction contest with the winner getting a special role, and we're trying to have pugs or pickup games every weekend. I had some free time last week, so I actually got on Twitch and live casted the pugs, so here's some highlights from that. Oh my gosh, it's just Adbon against the world! It's Adbon versus Optidox for the win! 1v1! Can he do it? It's Adbon versus Opti! There's literally no one on the point! Opti wins! On the Zenyatta now, we have the boosted Zenyatta here. Zakaro takes out Pixel Storm, takes out Nikimanki. That was obviously a great decision, and probably definitely not accidental. Knight, you're going down! No! So if any of that sounded interesting to you, then make sure to join my Discord server with the link on the screen right now or in the description below. And now for what you're really here for. Well, here we are. After nearly a month of group stages that were really predictable, actually, the field of 24 has officially been trimmed down to 8, who will all meet at BlizzCon 2018 in early November. Who made it? Well, pretty much everyone who you thought would make it.
And a beautiful lineup as well, 5-4, 3-2-1-0, all the way down.
I don't think any other group stage has had something as clean as that.
Actually, 3 of the 4 group stages were that clean, but shout out to Thailand for being the only remotely close one. In any case, we all know that now it gets really interesting, with 8 talented teams still in the hunt for the World Cup title, and trust me, there are more teams with a legitimate shot at it than ever before. In alphabetical order, let's see who's still standing.
Come on, come on, come on! I hate waiting!
As someone who doesn't know very much about the Australian Overwatch scene, I figured before beginning my research that their World Cup team would mostly consist of Cussa from the LA Valiant and the 2-time Contenders Australia champion Sydney Drop Bears, right? That's actually wrong. There's only one member of the Sydney Drop Bears on Team Australia, with the rest being a mix of Blank Esports and the former members of Team Darksided who disbanded shortly after the season because Blizzard doesn't give a damn about Australia, but that's a rant done over and over again. Both of these teams have found success in Contenders, Australia for Darksided and Pacific for Blank, which is arguably more difficult, but why you wouldn't just take the members from the 2-time champions and undisputed best roster in the region is beyond me. I'm hoping they know what they're doing and my confusion can just be chalked up to me not knowing anything about the Australian scene. Still, any team with Cussa as a driving force behind it is a team worth keeping an eye on. We saw the effect his shot calling and personality had on the Valiant in the second half of the Overwatch League season. Team Australia comes into BlizzCon with one goal: to prove that Australian stars can stand up with the rest of the world and get the casual, competitive Overwatch viewer to care about them. A noble cause. Who are they up against anyways? And once again, the Australians will simply be slaughtered and fed to the mighty Korean Empire. It's been a good run, boys.
Go again!
Last year's runner-ups have once again avoided being on the same side of the bracket as South Korea and the USA, and look to squeak through their side of the bracket just like last year. As long as XQC can avoid getting banned again, their prospects actually look pretty good. The explosive DPS duo of Sureforward Agilities are back, and XQC has an actual off-tank partner this year with Note, the breakout star from the Boston Uprising, by his side. The biggest question marks for Team Canada are with their supports. Bonnie got a lot of criticism from many sources, including myself, with his Overwatch League performance, while Crimzo was a relative unknown as the only player in the starting 6 that has never seen the Overwatch League stage. While they did hold up well in the group stage, it was against mostly inferior competition, and they struggled against the Americans. It is not yet known whether the Overwatch World Cup stage will be as kind. However, this team holds a lot of promise and could very well make a deep run if everyone plays up to their potential.
I can't wait to get started!
This Chinese team is one with a lot of intrigue surrounding it. While they went 5-0 in their group stage, it wasn't very pretty, with 2 of those matches going to map 5. This meant that China had the worst map differential of all number 1 seeds going into this tournament. Of course, everyone who watched the Overwatch League associates the Chinese scene with the Shanghai Dragons, and we know what first impression that made. But this team is nearly all new, with Sky being the only former Dragons player to be on the roster. As far as the other players, I think it would be fair to say that the spotlight is pretty firmly on Leave. The former Miraculous youngster player was known to be the kind of person that could play pretty much any hero on a world-class level. Don't believe me? He played 11 different heroes during China's match with Australia. 11! Leave retired from professional Overwatch in 2017 after the Shanghai Dragons didn't pick him up for Season 1, but has come out of retirement for the World Cup, and doesn't look to be showing any signs of rust. Of course, we can't forget players like Gushue, whose main tank play has come out of nowhere and impressed everybody, to the point where he's already rumored to be coming to the Overwatch League Season 2. And of course Sky, the only Overwatch League veteran on the team, who has looked a lot better on his signature hero, Ana. China has a lot of talent and hope coming into the Overwatch World Cup as they look to redeem their country in the eyes of the rest of the world. Let's just hope they all get their visas on time this year.
OG Plymouth's down in Finland have done it!
I feel like people have forgotten about Finland, and I don't blame them. In my 2.5k Q&A video, I forgot about Finland. But outside of South Korea and USA, Finland are the only team with a starting 6 of all Overwatch League players. And we're not talking bad players either. This team is basically a reunion tour of the Team Giganti squad that won Contenders Europe, except they added the X factor of Taimu into the roster as well. This squad is really scary, and it feels like no one cares. They took South Korea to a map 5 and may have even beaten them if it wasn't for circumstances. I guess it has to be mentioned that Team Finland kinda has 3 hit scan players. Linkser and Taimu are both known to be the kind of players that can either take a game over completely or feed like their opponents haven't eaten in years. However, they have a starting Overwatch League worthy tank line in Fraggy and Zappis, and an actual starting Overwatch League support duo in Big Goose and Shaz. Finland absolutely has the tools necessary to get back into medal contention like in 2016, and to make up for their early exit in 2017.
Now, where were we?
First of all, France, you deserve a shout out. You were by far the most entertaining crowd of the group stages, and it was so cool to see so many passionate fans together with all of their national pride. It made me all the more excited for a Paris team in Season 2. Keep being you, France. As far as the team itself is concerned, France has made the final tournament in every World Cup so far, and it's pretty easy to see why. Just like Finland is a reunion of Team Giganti, Team France is a reunion of Rogue, with every player outside of Nox reporting from the squad that was the most feared Western team in the world not named Envious. And for good reason, with Soon, AKM, and Unko all finding success in the Overwatch League despite all this time. Add in Poco from the Fusion, Benvest from Young and Beautiful, and you've got a team that completely destroyed on home turf in their group stage. However, Canada is a completely different beast. If France can comfortably put them away, then they can be a good matchup against any team. Is this the year that France finally puts itself on the podium?
One for my highlight reel.
What do you get when you cross the NYXL with Carpe? You get the heavy favorites to win the World Cup, of course. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here. South Korea is still expected by most to win their 3rd World Cup in as many years. Despite their sour ending to the season, the NYXL put together the most dominant 6 months in Overwatch League history so far, and 4 of the 6 of them are back on this team. Carpe was considered the best DPS in the world on the Fusion, and Fate was quietly in the conversation for best main tank on the Valiant. However, there is hope for other teams. Finland had this team on the ropes during their group stage, but I think the biggest reason why South Korea looks beatable this year isn't because they got worse, but because everyone else got better. The Overwatch League had allowed Western players to play against these top Koreans for much longer periods of time than ever before. The constant scrimming and playing has allowed the skill gap between Korean Overwatch League teams and Western Overwatch League teams to shrink. Case in point, the Seoul Dynasty, who didn't even make the playoffs and seem to be pretty much starting over for Season 2. I think teams with a lot of Overwatch League talent like USA, Canada, Finland, and France have a really good chance. Don't get me wrong, South Korea are still the favorites to win, but this year, the evil empire looks to be buckling, and it just might collapse.
Let's get to it already!
The United Kingdom joins Australia and China in the Just One Overwatch League player club, with Boombox from the Fusion being the only player in their ranks. But let's not count them out just because of that. They got the DPS duo of Kib and Mikey A from the British Hurricane, who got relegated to trials this year. Okay, but KSP from Young and Beautiful made the playoffs, and Smex from RNG even made it to the semifinals. Also, Christopher is Chips' brother, so I mean, come on, how could they possibly lose? Listen, the United Kingdom is a Tier 2 team in a Tier 1 tournament. For the United Kingdom, it would honestly be considered a success if they took one map off the Americans. To date, they have not yet won a map in an Overwatch World Cup Finals bracket. This team can't be underlooked, of course. They have a lot of experience behind them, but so does every team in this tournament. Their greatest hope is to be underestimated in a Revolutionary War rematch. Even if these guys play the game of their lives, I'm not confident they can defeat the USA.
We almost got this. Don't screw it up.
Team USA is flying high. They took down rival Canada in their group stage and got the first seed, which means for the first time they won't be fed to Korea in the quarterfinals. They'll be fed to them in the semifinals instead. However, if any team was to pull off an upset, I think the Americans have a good shot at doing so. By far, this team's biggest strength is in its tanks. Muma and Space from the Outlaws and Valiant respectively are two of the only Western tank players that are even put in the same groupings as the best Korean players. If Sinatra could rekindle some of that magic that we saw in 2017 with the consistent flex play of Hydration with him, they just might be able to match anyone. Also, we can't forget about Zachary, the X-Factor Fusion University star who impressed in this group stage, even if he was arguably played against inferior opponents. As far as supports go, things get a little more questionable. While Rock has had some criticism thrown his way for the Overwatch League Season 1, he has looked good so far. We'll see if that continues on the stage, as Rock's inclusion to the starting team over Sleepy was questioned by many. His partner Moth, who was consistent but quiet on Mercy in the Overwatch League Season 1, and was often relegated to payload duty throughout the group stage, did come out with some nice looking Lucio boops, and showed some flexibility on the Ana as well, but we all know that the final stage will be the true test. The United States have the strongest roster that they've put out so far, and they look like serious title contenders. If they can get past the giant Korean wall in their path to the finals, the USA could very well take the whole thing. Alright, prediction time! As far as the lowest tier of teams go, USA and South Korea should be able to sweep aside UK and Australia without much trouble. France and China will put up more of a fight, especially Canada versus France. I expect that to be a really close match, but I think Canada and Finland should squeak by. After that, I see a lot of group stage rematches, with South Korea and Finland meeting up in the finals while USA and Canada face off in the bronze match after two tight semifinal matches. I'm going to take the US in the bronze match because they beat them before and I have national pride, while I'm going to take South Korea winning it all for the third year in a row. Boring? Yes, but this is still the most likely outcome in my opinion. One more reminder, you can fill out a bracket just like this on my Discord. Getting closest to the actual bracket will give you a special rank, so join with the link in the description. And of course, if you guys like this video and want to see more like it, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That's it for me guys, don't get tilted. Peace nut!